Welcome to the Forged Not Born podcast. Mario, thank you very much for coming on here. This is just a little bit of an introduction to like people within the natural bodybuilding sphere, coaches. We'll get into a little bit of about maybe your background, your origin, how you got in here, what you've got coming up as well. And really, yeah, this is just all about just trying to get natural bodybuilding more out there into the mainstream and to give some like, I like to think like behind the curtain views, because obviously people see the social media, people see all the glitz and the glam behind it, but they don't really know what's it actually like to live that life, right? And then also potentially some tips and tricks and advice to people that are either potentially interested in this, pique the curiosity, or maybe like first-time competitors that want to get better. So without further ado, Mario, welcome to the podcast. You want to give the guys and girls listening to this a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
100%. First of all, thank you for having me on the podcast. It's an honor. My name is Mario Bastos. I'm from Portugal, currently living in the Netherlands. I am a natural bodybuilding athlete, a coach, and also a judge. And I've been within the WNBF mainly since 2021. So I've been training for 12 years, I would say. I think so. So I'm 30 right now, 18 years old. Yeah, 12 years I've been training. I've competed in 2021 for the first time, and a lot of learning from there. And now in 2025 also competed, which was when I got the pro card. So I don't know if you want to keep me a little bit basic and then you explore a little bit more, but that's pretty much it. And right now I'm focusing on the off season, growing a little bit more, and focusing also on my coaching business as well.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. So yeah, give us a little bit of like obviously who you are and what you do basically. So you said you're a coach, and you said obviously off air as well that you were a full engineer. So give me a little bit of background of how you've gotten to this point right now.
I believe that I always wanted to be within the fitness industry, but I moved into the engineering path early on because that was a safe path for me. But after 5 years of working in the industry, I was not really fulfilled with that. And when I competed for the first time in 2021, I did 2 shows, didn't really place in any of them, but that gave me the fire that I'm like, okay, this is the path that I want to take. So that's when I quit my job. I even moved countries. I wanted to start fresh within the fitness industry. And yeah, now I live in the Netherlands. I moved to a city very close to Amsterdam. I've been working as a personal trainer since then, and also as a coach, even brought some people onto stage, one of them even achieving a pro card. And right now the goal is to keep on going with the coaching and just develop the standard of natural bodybuilding, right? And yeah, since then, just a lot of learnings as well, both as an athlete and a coach. And that's what fitness is all about. You just keep on learning within the journey, I suppose.
Awesome, man. What made you choose natural bodybuilding as well? Because I imagine like you get this question quite a lot, right? Why not go down the enhanced route? You know, yada yada yada. Why natural bodybuilding? What did that appeal to you the most?
I really enjoy watching let's say the normal bodybuilding, but that was never really an option for me. I never took that into account. So I didn't know any natural bodybuilding federations, but I have a twin brother. I think this is something that I didn't mention. And in 2019, he was like, oh, there's actually natural bodybuilding federations where you can compete. I'm like, cool. So that's when let's do that then. So that was never really an option for me to go into that path. And then like, okay, it saves money, it saves your health. So let's go for it. And it actually, knowing some natural bodybuilding federations made me realize that you can achieve much more than you think. So then 2020 didn't happen. So that's because of COVID, obviously. So that's why we competed in 2021. And yeah, never really been considering going to the other side, let's say to the dark side, because yeah, it was never really an option. I really like it. I respect every athlete and I respect the sport, but it's not really for me.
Yeah, likewise, man. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret you might not. I didn't know there was a difference between natural bodybuilding, not for quite a while. I don't know, you know, when you're brand new, right? You're quite what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're quite blind to what's actually going on, and like you don't know who's taking this or who's doing what. My first show was a NABBA show in 2016. And I did it having no clue there was such thing as enhanced or non-enhanced. So obviously I didn't place, and obviously like I did it self-coached, and I was taking some advice from someone who owned a supplement shack, shall we say,
Sure.
round the back corner. And I just remember like looking back on it now. Obviously, I'm sure you do like your first prep to your last prep, because I did 2024 was when I actually got back on stage again, and oh man, like it was like, oh, this is natural bodybuilding. This is like how we actually go through a prep and everything. So when I was younger, I was so naive. I think that's the word I was looking for, right? I come fresh out of the army at like 2015. I was like, I really like, building all this muscle. I didn't have to run around anymore as well. And I was working in the gym. Similar to you, I've made that transition from being a mechanical engineer in the military to now like being a full-time PT. And I was like, I just chose the nearest show to me about 20 weeks away and just went for it. And I've never looked back since. So that was interesting.
What was the experience for you?
Quite an interesting one, to be fair. I had one person that I knew that was there. I went with my mum and her ex-partner at the time, and the whole show day and vibe was pretty cool, to be honest with you. And everyone was really sound. What I remember probably the most was the bikini girls from the Masters were handing out Haribos backstage. That's one of those like, things that stuck with me, and like, everyone pumping up background. I remember just kind of being in awe of some of the guys there, because at the time, I don't know if you know, but there used to be something, I think it was called the UKBFF. It used to be an old federation. And it just kind of like, I don't know, broken down, whatever, I'm not really sure about the politics behind it. But all the guys had jumped ship from there to NABBA. And like, so it was technically their first time. And I was in a first time, and it was quite clearly they were not first timers from what I remember. That was either out of the highest standard of first timers I've ever seen in my life. But overall, it was a very interesting development, and I liked it, man. Like I got onto it, I enjoyed myself. There was so little pressure. I was a bit disappointed not to place, but in hindsight, looking back on it, it was kind of like, well, of course I didn't place. You know what I mean? Like you know the standards then, but you didn't know beforehand. So if you could describe yourself outside of bodybuilding, what would that be, Mario?
Whoa, that's a great question. So I'm a very boring guy per se, because I think that's also how I got into natural bodybuilding, because natural bodybuilding kind of rewards those boring behaviors. But yeah, I'm just a guy that really likes to be outside, very sporty as well. Loves food. I think as a bodybuilder, we are usually foodies. We appreciate it a lot more because we always have the same kind of meals every time. Like to travel. I'm family oriented, so I really like spending time with family more than anything else. That's the challenge of being away from Portugal. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think all these type of behaviors is one of the reasons that led me to being an athlete, I suppose.
It's kind of like being very, very happy in the mundane. The way I view it is like, I'm happy to turn up and do the same thing again and again and again and again, but better and better and better. And I do
100%.
think that certain people really don't get on with that very well, and that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
And this might not be the best thing for you if you want to try and do something different every time. Would you say that you have any hobbies? I can see the guitar in the background as well. Do you play an instrument? Do you have hobbies outside of bodybuilding?
Oh, interesting. Okay, so yeah, I do play the guitar. Actually, when I was a bit younger, before I actually started lifting, I had a rock band. So something that I did as a teenager. I had that phase as well. So I still play the guitar very once in a while. In terms of hobbies, that's what I like to do. I like to watch football. I really love football. Obviously, the Portuguese league is Porto.
Oh, okay.
What's yours?
I'm a West Ham fan.
West Ham. Okay, so we never really went against
We
each other.
won't. We won't meet, mate. We're not going to be in the Champions League. Put it out anytime soon. But yeah, it's a hard life being a West Ham fan.
Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I like spending time outside, barbecues, these type of simple things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. So that initial gateway into bodybuilding, you spoke about your brother. Kind of was that the in there, or was there anything else going on?
In terms of, sorry?
So you spoke about, was it your brother that introduced you, like your twin brother that introduced you to natural bodybuilding?
Yeah. So you kind of have the same background as I do, but he's still within the engineering path. However, he really loves fitness as well. And he also wanted to compete. So he actually competed before in IFBB in the men's physique category. Oh. And obviously he didn't place. He came second to last on that show. But yeah, obviously he also didn't know that much. He went from those bodybuilding forums back in the day and just knowing how to proceed with peak weeks, what to do. So what he did is he got the biggest sandwich from a Subway shop and then just pounded that as a carb up technique.
I remember having steak and cheesecake for my carb up.
Yeah, I remember he was pumping up.
That was the advice I was given.
Exactly. And then I remember he was pumping up with Kit Kats and shit. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look good. But yeah, I think that experience is not really great for him. And he was like, I'm never going to compete again unless it's natural federations. So eventually he found one and he told me about it. And we're like, okay, so let's both compete. So we both competed within the same shows. And yeah, so the first show was in Italy. We didn't really place. This was an open category, so we were competing against heavyweights, middleweights, and we were very light. Obviously, I was 59 kilos in that show, so probably the lightest.
And open as well.
Yeah, on open as well. So I remember there was guys 85 kilos, 90 kilos, but that's part of it. And then on the WNBF Spain, we actually went within our category. So I placed fourth within 13 athletes, and my brother came second. So yeah, he placed really well. And yeah, from then on, we knew that we wanted to be in this industry. We wanted to compete more. We want to make sure that we raise the standard, especially in Portugal, because we were the first athletes to compete within the WNBF in Portugal.
Oh wow, so really? So you were the first Portuguese to do it in WNBF.
So that really motivated us to keep pushing there. So that's why I eventually became a judge, and I'm within the WNBF Portugal Federation to make sure that the shows happen. I mean, within the organization, and yeah, just making sure that we are getting the standard of natural bodybuilding at the highest possible potential. So I decided to compete in 2025. My brother was also thinking on competing, but right now he lives in the US. So at that point, he started a new job, and then he was not able to go through the season. So I was the only one left to compete. So that was a misfortunate, but it was also a really good season for me. I made a lot of connections in this season because I was kind of alone, so I kind of need to figure my way out through it. And yeah, I think it ended up pretty well.
Yeah. Have you found, like, during your time when you first got into it versus like what it actually was there a difference between what you thought it was and actually what it is, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
What would you say is the kind of biggest difference or change?
So I thought that once I started prepping, I would look phenomenal, right? I think more about nothing really changed, but more my view of reality, right? Because I thought, oh, these guys look really good, but I do believe that if I get shredded, then I will look as good as them, which is not really true, right? If you don't have the muscle to show it, you're not going to really look competitive. So it's kind of an eye-opening experience. And now I kind of know what the standard is. And that's what helped me to visualize where I want to take my physique to make sure that I was competitive the next season. So I think that's pretty much it, because other than that, I was expecting the same things that happen right now. I already knew that The environment is very good. So we have a lot of rivalry, but they are very healthy. All the competitors are pushing each other to become better. That's something that I really love.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's something that was exactly the same as I expected. And okay, one of the things that surprised me is how supportive the organization is. So if you have questions, if you have any doubts regarding anything regarding the show, everyone helps. So that's something that really surprised me. But other than that, nothing really was different. I don't know if that was the question, but yeah, that's my answer.
No. I mean, it's great insight, right? Because I think that's really, really good there. Because what happens is until you're kind of struck with that kind of like slap in the face almost of this is the standard that you actually need to get to, you're kind of like clueless in your positioning of where you deserve to be or where you should be or where you want to be, if that makes sense. You're kind of like you have no measuring stick to go against until you actually get on stage. And I know that when I didn't place on my show, I took a massive slap to my ego and face because I thought, oh, I've got loads of muscle, I'm massive, blah blah blah. Like, and then you get slapped across with that, and you're like, oh no, I don't think I have as much as I do. And it took me having to go through. I had to get surgery in 2018 for a hernia, and then my plan was to come back, but COVID, and then I got just way too fat, basically. Like I was strong, like don't get it twisted, I was strong, but I was way too like fat, and I've got the stretch marks to prove that now as well, unfortunately. But then it's about re-standardizing it after and going through that and realizing, okay, cool, I've built a load of muscle now, but actually I need to probably maintain a lower level of body composition to actually be able to go to the next level, because otherwise my recovery, my cardio, like none of that's going to be in a good enough position. I'm going to plateau out, or I'm going to have joint issues, or run out of gas or puff out of gas during the set, right? Because you don't have that cardiovascular capability for those heavier real top sets. So you need that gas tank, right? So yeah, really, really good. Is there ever a moment where you thought, oh, fuck this?
No, not really. Since I left the stage in 2021, I never really took the eyes off the price per se. So one thing that was different is I never really expected a placing this time, just really enjoying the process. But I knew that I wanted to get back on it and just show a much more improved version. That was my goal. So that never really left my sight. So even after moving countries and yeah, like changing homes very frequently, changing jobs, that never really left my mind. So all that I did was programmed to that moment.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so like it's never left your sight, so to speak. It's still been always there, no matter all the change going on. I think that's a really valuable point there, because a lot of people, we work in the coaching industry, right? We see this happen all the time. I need to change job, I need to move house, and people just like leave all their goals and just completely drop off of everything, and then they wonder why they struggle to then get back into it again, right?
Yeah, there's never a right time to do anything, right? So
yeah, man, never is. What would you say? Obviously, you've had a long off season, like throughout that. What would you say is some of the tips or advice then for people looking to go into an off season, or maybe they're in an off season right now? What are some of the things that you've learned during this time that's maybe helped you get more progress?
I think the best advice that I can give is to enjoy the hell out of the training. So when you're in the off season, obviously you have more food in your system. You almost like you must progress, right? So it's almost like you're in a mission to progress within your training, because that's the best metric that you'll have to make sure that you are actually gaining muscle. Because when body fat's a bit higher, you'll not be able to see the changes the same way that you see when you're cutting. So what really changed after that 2021 season was training intensity was a hell of a lot higher. I thought I trained hard, and then I saw that I was not really training hard. And then just enjoying it, just really making sure that I would go to a session and just smash the shit out of it. That's what I did, to be honest. That didn't really change much. I knew that I was doing way too much volume before, so I just cut it quite a lot, and then just focused on the intensity then. And then it was a way of fine tuning as we went.
With that, what was the moment that you knew you had another gear for intensity? Was there a trigger? Did you train with someone else? Did you have a different coach? What was it?
No, so I hired a coach in the beginning of my 2021 season. So he couldn't really do much regarding the muscle mass that I had. But during the prep, it kind of showed me the way that I really need to train hard. Actually, most people can actually know who the coach is. It's Brandon Kempter. He's a natural bodybuilding coach. Very, very known, actually. Very good one.
Yeah, very good coach.
And yeah, that kind of opened my eyes. And because I didn't really know what to expect from prep, there was a point where the energy was so low. I'm like, oh, I cannot do this. So I didn't have that mindset of just pushing through the training when I was feeling physically tired. And I don't know, something changed after my last show, where it's like, no, this cannot happen. So I remember I took a day off because I had to travel back to Portugal. And then the day after, I'm like, okay, off-season has started. And just with a couple of 15 days, I'd say that, my energy was different, something in me that was like pushing the training. And yeah, the difference was unreal. And even during the recovery phase, I could see already my body just responding so well to the training. And yeah, and from then on, I acquired the skill of just pushing through discomfort, even when the scenario is not favorable for you. And yeah, I think it's more like a mental challenge rather than a physical challenge, really pushing through training.
Especially if food is high, right, and the recovery phase has gone correctly. I mean, I remember so I did, in 2024, I did UK DFBA, and then in the heart of England, so placed second in that in novice, because I shot myself in the foot by doing that first timers in Nava in 2016. So I think I could have done first timers technically if I hadn't done that, but then I probably wouldn't be where I am right now. So it's all a case of like, it's part of life, right? And then after I did the WNBF, and where I placed third, we were thinking about doing a third show. But at that point, I feel like the body just wasn't responding well. I looked worse for the WNBF than I did the UK DFBA. I looked puffier. I didn't have as much detail. My stress was higher. We pushed for another kilo to get like a little bit leaner, because the guy that beat me at UK DFBA, he was just like 1% better, leaner. That's all it was. Like, my posing was okay. I had good amount of muscle mass. Like, the feedback from the guys at UK DFBA and all the guys were like, it was really kind of like mixing it up. It was good. It felt great. When they were calling it out, I don't know if you had this moment as well, Mario, when they're calling out the names or the numbers for the placings, and they keep going through, and you're still not called out, and you start going, fuck. Do you have that moment?
What do you mean, when they're talking about the placings, or when?
When I remember this very clearly for UK DFB, I had no expectations of place, and I'm happy just to present a really good physique, and then they're calling up like, sixth, fifth, fourth, and I'm like, okay, here I come, I'm going to be third, and they don't go third, and you go, no, like, I wasn't expecting it, and it was kind of like because of that expectation, it was so more joyous, and I was so much more present in it. That first time.
I kind of resemble with that. So the first two shows, because I'm a judge myself, I already knew that I was going to place second based on how the lineups were placed. So I kind of already knew. So I was not really, when it was up to the first and second place, if I was first, I would be very surprised. So I already kind of knew. So I was not really with that hype. However, on the WNBF Netherlands, then I was quite nervous. So I was looking at the ceiling. I'm like, come on, it needs to be now. It needs to be now. Because that show, then I felt like I had the first one as well. So that one, I felt very nervous, 100%.
Did you feel there was any like more pressure coming into that show compared to the first two as well?
A little bit, but more of an external pressure, because after the first show in Portugal, a lot of my friends, my followers, a lot of the competitors as well, now we're going to win the pro card. And then I went to the WNBF UK. took second again. It was like, I know that the last show is the one that you're going to win. I'm like, guys, please, just keep it chill. We'll see. It depends on whoever shows on the lineup. And then I was my batch was number 1 for the WNBF Netherlands. So everyone was like, yes, it's meant to be. So everyone was there. I remember there was this competitor that competed with me in WNBF Portugal and WNBF UK. He surprised me by coming to the Netherlands to see me win the pro card. So I'm like, oh man. Then there's like that external pressure for a last show. And yeah, it turned out well. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
How did it feel winning a pro card?
Interesting. I felt very proud, but it's almost like the feeling was not didn't hit me at that point, you know. It just, I think I started internalizing it once I went backstage with a pro card in my hand, because on stage it's like, okay, now to win the pro card, number 1, Mario. I'm like, okay, cool. I just stay here, take the picture, and leave, you know.
Yeah, you're in robot mode still, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. So I still see the footage of my now fiance, and yeah, she's vibing there. She's like, yes, we won, and she was more thrilled than I was. You know, that's very interesting, because I was so happy with the whole progress I've done, and especially on the last show, which was for sure the best physique, where I felt the leanest I was the whole season. And the peak week went so well. I was tight, I was full. So it was kind of a balance between the shows from Portugal and the UK. So I was really happy with the physique. So I had no pressure there. I was at peace with my work. So whatever happened there, I was not really concerned if I would go for the pro card or not. But then the external pressure kind of like, oh, now I feel a responsibility for that.
Interesting that, because I definitely remember when I had the UK FBA show, I depleted down to about, I want to say like 89. Now I'm about 6'4", 6'5" and getting down that low, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And when we re-peaked back up about, after we got some carbohydrates in us, we were about like 92, 91 and a half-ish on stage. So like I took quite a lot to get back in it, but I was so depleted. We pulled cardio about a week and a half. Before that, we could see that I was starting to cramp on my hamstrings and adductors. And I think I started prep about 113. So we'd taken a huge chunk of weight off from 113 kilos to like 88 in the end. And when we pushed for that extra kilo off to get from 89 to 88 between that and the WNBF, we saw a massive, like, we still looked good, but like it didn't look the same. And you can see that even in the pictures, like I like the stress response, a little bit more watery, less lines, you know. And the guy that I beat at the UK FBA beat me in the WNBF, and rightfully so, because he looked better than me on the day. Now I think he should have won. Actually, the guy who beat me comes second. Actually, I think his name's James. He should have beaten me, because the guy that was first, who's Peter, who's a lovely, honestly amazing guy, and he's got a really nice flow to his physique, which I do know that the WNBF do like a more aesthetically pleasing physique. Every different category and every different competition or federation has their, maybe, I want to say tells or likes, if that's do you think that's a fair thing to say?
Yeah, I think the criteria is different from every federation, right? I see the world champion that's competed in the WNBF UK as well. He also competed in my category. That's the guy that beat me. He won the WNBF Worlds in the lightweight category, and then when he went to compete in the UK VFPA, he didn't place in the top 3. So the criteria are very different from federation to federation. So that's normal.
Do you feel like that requires a little bit more of a specific approach depending on the way that your season or plan looks?
Yeah, 100%. So if you really want to, if you have shows that you want to emphasize more, it's like, oh, this is the one that I want to be 100%, then you probably should structure your training aligned to that, right? So for example, when thinking about the bodybuilding category for the WNBF, the criteria is available online, so you know what you have to improve, right? So I already knew that I had to improve my back, I need to improve my shoulders, I need to improve my quads to make sure that I have the X frame that they really want to see. So I kind of aligned my my training around that during the off season to ensure that I will bring up those areas to be as competitive as I can be. And probably that strategy will not be the best for the UK, the FBA, for example, right? So I think if you really want to be the best in a certain federation, then you should plan around it. But obviously there are some athletes that are just like massive. They have incredible genetics. They have great structure. They have the muscle architecture is there, and no matter the federation that they go, they will place well just because they are so competitive no matter what. But if you don't have that, if you're not genetically gifted, you might use that strategy to be as competitive as you can within the certain federation.
That makes sense. Unless you're someone like a Babacar, right?
Yeah, I think you will, because the guy is FPP pro, right? So he goes to any federation and he's gonna win, 100%, 99.9%.
Incredible athlete as well. Like he looks like a genuinely really nice guy as well.
Yeah, he's very fun on stage. He's gonna dance. He's gonna do some backflips. So that's gonna be a nice time if you're there and watching the show.
Yeah, enjoy the show, man. How practical question, and one actually that I was thinking about the other day. How do you find, or how do you feel was one of the better ways to control your midsection during either competition on the day or training for that in general? We see a lot of people, even especially one or two of my clients, like struggle to be able to control their midsection as tightly, and even I've struggled with this as well, actually, to be able to control that midsection during posing. Have you got any tips for people here, either in exercises you do in the off season or for practical terms when posing?
Yeah, for me is just practice. I actually here in the Netherlands do a lot of posing workshops for the WNBF Netherlands Federation, and that keeps me also accountable to keep on practicing posing during the off season. So the more you practice posing, the better your posing fitness will be. But a good tip that I can give is not to flex too hard when doing the poses. I think it's not gonna make that much of a difference, but in terms of how you are able to hold your poses, gonna make a massive difference. And then you also need to be strategic on how you want to do it, right? Sometimes I'm running out of air, and then sometimes I may use my hands in front of my abdomen so I can breathe in again, and then pose again, rather than just trying to breathe through the poses. And what I felt is, because I was practicing a lot towards the first show, I think my posing fitness was quite good. But then because I had so much more shows later on, by the last show, my posing fitness, I could just stay within the pose the whole day. It wouldn't matter because it was so good. So I think just practice is the main thing that I can give you.
Yeah, I've been seeing a few people that I know in the UK doing, or at least prioritizing, a lot more vacuums and things of this nature as well. What would you say to practicing exercises like this?
I think if you really want to show that on stage, 100% do that. I don't really practice vacuums because, for example, for me, my poses don't really look good if I do it. And I'm more of a bodybuilder, not really a classic physique competitor. So I don't really do it. But I have some clients that want to compete in the classic physique category. And yeah, definitely practicing the vacuums will really help, 100%. Because the more you do something, the better you become at it, right? So that's one thing that you should do.
Yeah, very valid point there about not only class that you're in and requirements for that as well, but also if the vacuum suits the physique as well that you do have. I know, for example, because of my genetics, because of the way my structure is, that a vacuum actually looks better for me than it does, because I'm able to kind of tighten and pull my waist in a lot more because my shoulders aren't as wide as I would like them. I don't have a couple more inches on my clavicles, unfortunately. It is what it is. Whereas because my hips are so very well built and my quads are so very developed, when I have this X-frame bit, if I kind of don't do that, I kind of look a little bit straighter and a little bit harder to kind of collate that classic kind of X-frame. Whereas if I pull that into a vacuum, it pulls my chest up as well, which is one of my weaker parts that I'm trying to develop more. So yeah, that actually kind of tells me very nice into a QA here for like the lat spread and development of chest and lats and things of that nature, especially around the torso, because as you can imagine, there's a lot. It's a deep conversation you can go into, but around kind of lat or chest development, what are some of your go-tos or the things that you've learned recently?
In terms of lat development, you mean?
Yeah, just either lat development or for chest development as well. We see this happen, especially around the lower lats or like mostly the lat thickness. We see this a key area that a lot of people miss out on, don't we? From a physique development standpoint, that rear delts and probably like either overall chest thickness or upper chest as well around that clavicle region. So if you had to kind of tell a couple of those weaker points that we know are a little bit more common, like what would be your go-to solutions for them?
I think then you just need to see what are the strong points on the physique and what are not the strong points in your physique, right? More often than not, you are better on getting a strong lats rather than a strong chest, because I think lats will help you win a lot more poses. So 100% then you should focus mostly on pull downs, on any sort of close grip rows, any sort of these things, just to make sure that you have a complete lat development. And then chest may help, especially on classic physique, I would say. For me, my chest is okay, but it's not really a strong area. And my back was an okay area, but still, what I just said is you need to improve your back if you want to keep on being competitive in a pro lineup. So I would say that right now I'm really emphasizing more lat development rather than just focusing on chest, right? So what I'm doing is just keeping with the movements that I know that work for me. My main one is obviously the lat pull down. It's always been a staple for me and works pretty well. So right now I'm just focusing on getting stronger at that and just progressing, overloading over time, and just trying to do certain variations, right? So I like to do both joint functions for the lats. So I like to do the lat pull down that's with a straight bar that's focused more on shoulder abduction. But then when it goes for like shoulder extension, I like to do a unilateral variation, just one end at a time. And those have been working really well for the lats.
I found that especially with unilateral lat work, I get a tremendously better mind to muscle connection. And I feel like I can just adjust and adapt a little bit where I can really start to tap into and feel it a lot more. If I do a standard lat pull down, I get a lot of teres major minor, a really lot of that as well.
I think also because it's a movement that you can load quite a lot, right? And once you go unilateral, the load is not as significant, so you may be able to connect a little bit better. Because what I've been seeing is once I was able to control the movement a little bit more with a little bit less load, but the tension awareness was there a lot more, right? So it's been working quite well for me. Obviously, it doesn't look as cool in the videos when I'm not putting as much load, but it's been working quite a lot. And one of the athletes that has been kind of inspired me to go with his approach. He's been Dirk. I think you know him. He's a world champion of my category, which is lightweight. And this is kind of the way he trains. And I also gave it a go. I'm like, it's really enjoying it as well. So I'm not very impressive when I go to the gym putting on a lot of loads, unless I go for more lower body movements. But the sensation and tension awareness that I get within the lats has been out of this world. So it's been kind of working for me. So I'm just going to keep with that.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head, right? Like, okay, yeah, it might not look that impressive for Instagram, but is it doing the job? Yes, it is. It's doing the job.
Yeah, I don't know if you struggle with clients as well, especially with younger clients, but once they send you training footage and they are training like, I don't want to, training like jackasses.
Animal. They train like animals, right?
Yeah.
They just go in and throw weight around.
And I really appreciate the effort there, but if we do these tweaks, then we may have a little bit, we may benefit from it. And sometimes it's very hard for them to switch off that all in type of mentality. I don't know if you struggle with that, but yeah, I struggle for sure.
Yeah, do you feel like that's because of what they are seeing and how prevalent it is now, especially with social media, where they are witnessing, you know, your AJ Morris's, your Keefe Wests, like pulling some of these strong dudes like that have been in the game for like 10, 15, 20 years, and some of them are genetically freaks. Like the way that Keefe lifts a fucking deadlift is disgusting, but he's built for it and he's done it for fucking ages. The fact that he's been around the people at Gasp and Branch Warren and all those guys, and where his mentality is just on another level, right? So like when you're seeing that and you're like, well, you want to try to replicate it, do you think that's potentially causing people, especially some younger guys, a little bit more harm with more potential injury risks?
Yeah, 100%, because Kifi has been doing this for so long, right? So his level of accuracy is much higher than them. So he's able to go through these heavy movements and sometimes not looking technically great, but being very effective because he's so good at it, right? The same with AJ Morris. Now if you look at his X squats, they are so heavy, but so much control, so much intensity in the set, right? So you cannot try to replicate putting like 6 plates on the Cybex X squat and just pounding weight, because eventually you might get hurt, right? So it's something that's sometimes you just need to detach yourself from the loads and just attach yourself from the actual quality of the set.
I think that a lot of the time when you're younger, or at least with younger clients especially, I'm thinking back to how I used to live when I was that age as well. And they don't maybe see this more from a long-term perspective, right? Like 5-10 years down the line, if you keep doing this better and well, you could be a pro bodybuilder. You could be having the physique or level that is, but you're not going to get it in 5 months.
Yeah, 100%. The whole point of improving your training quality is so you can progress over time and just promote longevity, right? You can keep on making progress without getting injured. So that's how I actually train and still can get injured. Like I pulled my adductor last week, so I'm unable to train legs for, let's see how long, but hopefully not too long. So this still happens, but the goal is trying to minimize that as much as you can.
Yeah, valid point there, Jai, because even with all the skill, all the experience, I've been lifting now for like 15 years, and I still go into something where I just have a feeling I'm like, okay, that's a little bit off today, so I'm probably not going to go for this next rep on. I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to come back next week. And 99% of the time, that pays me dividends moving forwards, and I'm able to then progress and keep going. Whereas maybe if you don't have that life experience, you don't have that training experience or that skill, that feedback for the body, you then don't do that, and then you send it, and you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, I've trashed something.
Yeah, 100%. I think the more experienced you are, the more internal cues you have, and then you'll be able to assess way more responsibly.
You can only get that through reps though, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome, man. Cool. So a little bit of like a wrap up. So what's the biggest lesson bodybuilding has taught you, Mario?
It's going to be very cliche, but it's definitely fail as much as you can, because you're going to learn so much from it. I learned a lot from my failures. I learned a lot from my successes as well, but that's because to achieve that, I had to go through so much failures, right? And also that you are capable of doing way more than you think. Because when you go through prep, you kind of like in athlete mode, everything is automatic. But once you're out of it, you kind of give yourself a lot of credit for what you went through. You were able to plan your meals, get your steps, get your training, even with your such a low body fat. So it kind of like builds your character as well. So yeah, that's kind of the lessons that he gave me. Just keep on failing, because that's just going to build you up to where you are today, and eventually even better. I think that's how life is.
Fail hard, fail often.
Yeah, 100%.
Love that, man. Love that. Advice for anyone considering their first show?
Go with no expectations. Have fun. You're gonna be on stage with people that are like-minded. So you all share the same passion. So you're gonna make friends for life. I know I did. I had friends from 2021 that I still talk with them in 2026 right now. So enjoy your time on stage, no pressure, and take feedback. And once you take the feedback, then work your ass off to make sure you now have you're gonna work towards a competitive physique. If you don't have a competitive physique already, of course.
Of course, man, of course. What excites you about the future, man? What have you got going on, Mario? And obviously we're speaking about the future. So what have we got for you personally coming up over the next year or two?
So competition-wise, nothing is aligned. So obviously I need to put on some size to be competitive as a pro. And also I'm getting married at the end of the year. So that's going to be my priority. Thank you. And from then on, just just making sure that I get the athletes as ready as possible. So I have some athletes that are intending on jumping on stage this year, and others a little bit further down the line. So that's going to be my goal right now, making sure that we get the competitions going and get as the best possible physique that we have. And then when the time is right, I will jump on stage again and go for my pro debut and finally go to Worlds, hopefully.
Amazing, man. I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited for you. So where can people find you?
So they can find me via Instagram, Mario M. Bastos, and also within my coaching page, MBC Physique. And yeah, that's the social media that I use.
Awesome. Who do you help and how do you normally help them? Just briefly.
So I help natural lifters, so mostly with competitive goals, but also with lifestyle goals, because the process is very similar as long as you want to get jacked. And I help them through experience, through passion, and through actual data.
Awesome, man. Well, Mario, I truly do appreciate our chat today and I appreciate you hopping on the podcast. If you want to leave the guys with any last thoughts.
No, really, just it's been an honor for being invited to the podcast, and I wish you a lot of success, and I'm keen to see the next episodes as well.
Yeah, hoping to hopefully have you on in the future after the pro season has first got underway and you kind of like broken that pro debut, right?
Okay, let's make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, here's to us both getting married this year, right?
Yes, 100%.
All right, man.